Thank you. Can you hear me at the back? You can, that's very good. Welcome to UCA Farnham. We're really delighted to have you here tonight. You are most welcome. It's a real pleasure to be hosting this event. It was a great pleasure last year to be in York and to be so successful, but it really is the culmination to be hosting the event now. It's a great honour for UCA and it's a great honour for UCA Farnham. Just a little bit about the university. We're the second largest specialist creative arts university in the UK, actually in Europe. And what is so good about these awards for us is how the vision of these awards and that focus on the craft of camera work is so in tune with the philosophy of the university. I just had one story I wanted to tell you. Earlier this week, I was at our campus in Canterbury, UCA Canterbury, and I was wearing an Oculus Rift. Some of you might know what an Oculus Rift is. It's a headset, a virtual headset, virtual reality headset. And it was quite an amazing experience, and it's quite a new technology. We were working on a demonstration model, a development model, and just beginning to think about what it might mean for film students and television students and architecture students. And it is those opportunities of new technology, and I know they are at the core of the Bill Vinten Awards, but how those new technologies relate to well-established and existing technologies and crafts that is so important to us here at UCA. What I'd like to say is we never throw anything away. We haven't moved into the digital. We've brought the digital to us, but we've maintained all of our craft skills and all of our analog technologies. They're really fundamental to us. So in photography, for example, we still teach wet processing and wet printing, and in our film courses, we still teach editing, live editing. And it's really important to us that students understand, often need to understand what they're trying to replicate in the digital world has an analog base. And those analog skills are so absolutely fundamental. So here at UCA Farnham, where craft is so important in all of its many guises, in our glass studios, in our ceramic studios, in our textile studios, and also in our film production studios, it just seems a very fitting place for these awards to be taking place. So that's all from me. It's a real pleasure to have you here. I know there are some people who can't be here today for various reasons, but I know friends and family are here today, and you are most welcome here as well. So we're all looking forward to seeing how the awards transpire tonight. So with no more ado, I'm going to hand over to Claire Barwell, who is the inspiration and course leader of our film production work here at Farnham and in the university. So you're in safe hands indeed. Claire, if you'd like to come up. Thank you very much.
Well, that was very nice to be introduced as an inspiration. I'm going to inspire you by doing some air stewardess gestures towards the toilets, which if you haven't discovered them, they're at the back, and the fire exits, which if you haven't discovered them are at the right, down there, or out through the foyer. Housekeeping over. I'm very proud to be standing here and welcoming you. I'm so proud of our course, and particularly of our camera department, of whom there are some very significant people here today who have maintained this wonderful tradition of still teaching on 16mm film. We have some new toys, but we've got Steenbecks, as well as Bolex and Aries. And we have some wonderful colleagues. Noski DeVille teaches the cinematography. Chris Pinnock runs the studio. And we are very delighted that Billy Williams, who comes to see us from time to time, is here with you tonight, with us tonight. So it's it was fabulous for that hard work to be recognised last year. And I think it's very exciting that we've got another red carpet event for you tonight, in the grand tradition of film, although we do talk about television as well. And that's all I want to say. It's sort of on with the show, red carpet for cinematographers, and I'm just going to subject you to 2 minutes of our little promo for our course and the Farnham Film School. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Keith Massey. I'm the chairman of the Guild of Television Cameramen. Thank you, Claire and Simon, and welcome everyone to the 2015 Bill Vinten GTC University Awards. A big welcome to all the students, graduates, and staff from universities from all over the country who have participated in the competition, and to our sponsors. We appreciate the support, and it's great to see you here. A very special welcome goes to our VIP guest, renowned Oscar cinematographer Billy Williams, BSc OBE. Billy won an Oscar for Best Cinematography on the film Gandhi and was awarded an OBE for his services to the film industry. This is a picture of Billy when he was 8 years old. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Vinten camera he's using, and it obviously paid to start young. I look forward to hearing about that a little later. We have an apology from the amazing person whose name is behind tonight's event, Bill Vinten. Sadly, Bill cannot be with us as he is unwell, and we send him our best wishes. John Henschel, a founder member of the GTC and our Vice President, also sends his apologies as he is representing the GTC at the Golden Eye Television Festival in Georgia. He is very sad not being here, as the UCA is very special to John, as he lectured here and was awarded an honorary master's degree in 2009. Sadly, last month, Dick Hibbard, our president and founder of the GTC, passed away at the age of 85. I'm pleased to say that Jean, his lovely wife, is with us tonight, together with daughter Melanie and son Stephen and family. Welcome, Jean, and I'm sorry your other son Richard could not be with us tonight. Dick would have loved to have been here to celebrate the evening with the next generation of talent. He loved being with young people, and indeed, he was on the previous 2 judging panels. Dick founded the Guild 42 years ago to provide a network for professional cameramen to share ideas and information. This is something that's become so important as more and more of us work as freelancers. Dick realised that the GTC could also provide a route for manufacturers such as Bill Vinten to develop user-friendly products. Bill recognised that the GTC was able to give valuable feedback on Vinten equipment and camera mountings. Only last year he was trying out the latest gimbal mounts at our AGM. But most important to Dick was promoting respect for working cameramen and upholding the standard of craft skills that we are honouring tonight. It was Dick who introduced Bill Vinten to Stuart McKeers, a meeting that kick-started these awards and the charity that aims to promote education and training of craft skills in our industry. Stuart is now chair of the trust that supports these awards and finances the work experience of these awards tonight. This is the 3rd year of the awards, and with 45 films from 15 universities, double that of the first awards in 2013. Our competition is there to encourage craft skills across genres, and it's the camera work that the judges have been asked to score. The judging panel was made up of senior cameramen, a producer, a film camera assistant, and 2 DOPs, some of whom are here tonight. They each bring their unique view to the judging process. It's exciting to see the range and quality of the films, and the changes in technology and costs mean that our young filmmakers are able to use slow motion, time-lapse, and even drones, enhancing their storytelling. The students also seem to have travelled far and wide, shooting in Greece, India, Uganda, and Guatemala. Let's have a look at a few of the clips from some of the documentary category.
I think I want my paintings to actually say to somebody, I'd like to be there. You know, I painted this scene because I wanted to be there, and hopefully the view I've got of this particular scene is an interesting angle on it. And so if I'm inspired to paint it, then hopefully the viewer is inspired to look at it. I'm painting truthfully what I see. When something is flat, when the light is just not there, the painting will be flat. So really, I'm just recording with my eyes what I see, and hopefully with the ability to mix up these colour tones. And if I can do that in an effective way, and I've got a composition that is hopefully inspiring to me, it'll be a painting that will hopefully be enjoyed by the onlooker.
He knows what he's doing, yeah. I know it might not look as if he does know what he's doing, but he does know what he's doing, really. Just a bit of adrenaline.
My brother and I, both of us were the star skaters of Missouri. When we used to enter the rink, sometimes people would just stop skating and just stand around and watch my brother and myself just waltzing way over here.
Wastad yn siarad am y môr. A'r môr yn y gwaed. A does neb yn meddwl sut roedd y dechrau.
Although you can learn movements with your master, it's in a roda that real capoeira will happen. Mind is the knowledge that you acquire during your practice. Your body can move, your body can stand still, your body can play, dance. Music brings people together, gives rhythm to the body, teaches you the wisdom of the past master. Above all, capoeira is about having fun.
Fantastic work, and we'll be showing some more clips later. But first we're going to hear from Vince Knight, last year's Bill Vinten GTC University Award winner, about leaving university and establishing himself in the industry. Vince.
Hello everyone. I'm not going to lie, I'm not entirely prepared for today. I'd like to start off by saying that it is a real honour to talk here. Thank you to everyone that runs this event and everything that it stands for. I'm going to just put my notes down. So, I won last year, which was an amazing thing to win, and I've been asked to come back to talk to you all about what I've done since then. I have had a really busy year as a freelancer. I freelance as a cameraman, as a DOP. I do a lot of colorist work as well. And just to briefly go over what I've done, I was a second unit DP on a feature film, on two features actually. Assisted on quite a lot of dramas, some TV stuff. I've done some colorist work on 3 features in that year. And I've been traveling quite a lot shooting motorsport. I somehow seem to have been tied into motor and automotive related work, but I'm not going to complain. I enjoy it and it's great to travel. So some things that I want to talk to you guys about, really to kind of kickstart your careers into the world of the industry, is the main thing is self-promotion. Your sort of how you brand yourself, how you represent yourself, and kind of really coming across, you kind of need to get your show reel, your website, and your business cards all done. I mean, if you haven't got business cards on today, reconsider your life. and just sort of your eagerness and willingness. So, yeah, there's this whole sort of idea of not to degrade the industry and not to work for free, but I think when you come out of university, you need to just be doing as much as you can. And, you know, I came out and I was yes man, yes to everything, you know. If someone needs me to help them with something, if someone needs me to shoot something, yes, let's do it. Sounds fun. And just doing as much as you can, you're building your showreel. You know, it might not be paid, but nothing is really free. I mean, okay, you might not get some cash for it. It doesn't pay the bills, but it's going to pay you in experiences. It's going to pay you in content for your reel. It's going to pay you in meeting people, making connections. In my first year after university, I think 10 of the jobs that I did for directors for free, I mean, probably about 5 of them have come back to me now with paid work, and a lot of that has been really quite big stuff. So, you know, if I said no, I have a rate, then maybe I wouldn't be doing what I am now. So the main thing is do be a yes man or woman, and just get involved in everything and all that you can. The next part is sort of networking, sort of creating your own opportunities. You know, there's all these film festivals and things like this that are great opportunities to get your work out to, go and see other people's work and just to meet like-minded people. And I think it's very easy to kind of be scared of these things, but, you know, just go there, get stuck in and get chatting and, you know, hand out those business cards you've made and it'll be fun. So yeah, that's essentially all I wanted to really say to you as advice for getting into the industry, is that, you know, you just stay busy, stay creative, and if you haven't got anything on, then go do something, even if it costs you. Just have fun. I've prepared a showreel to show you. I've actually re-edited it for tonight because it was a little bit out of date, but hopefully you'll enjoy.
Doesn't matter. Baby,
So tell me seriously, how does it make you feel?
Obviously, I'm absolutely awful at talking on stage, but I'm going to be around afterwards, so come have a chat and ask some questions. I'll be happy to talk. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Vince. It's good to know that you've got off to a good start. Now, I promised you a few more clips. Let's have a look at some of the drama films. These superb examples were the ones that didn't make the shortlist.
You're quick. Where do you want to be?
I don't understand why you're doing this.
Do I need a reason? This is like a video game from where I'm sitting.
So this is fun for you. This is my life.
I pray that you should never have to read this, but if you are, know that I will always love you, and I am always watching over you. And now these three things remain: faith, hope, and love.
Hello?
Amazing shots there again. I don't know how they got the insurance for those car scenes. Must have been very expensive. For some of us, getting enough work to sustain us is an achievement in itself. Occasionally, the work we do is recognised by the GTC with our annual awards, or by organisations like BAFTA. Very few of us go on to be nominated for an Oscar, but Billy Williams has received 3 nominations for his work on Women in Love, on Golden Pond, and Gandhi. It was for Gandhi that Billy won an Oscar for Best Cinematography, an achievement that only 44 other people in the world can boast about. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honour for me to introduce Billy Williams.
Good evening. It's good to be here with you. My father was a cinematographer. He started in 1910 in a studio in Walthamstow where the walls were made of glass and they drew the curtains across when the sun shone. So I grew up surrounded by camera equipment, and my father going on location. I would sometimes join him. And in those days, if you were a self-employed freelance cinematographer, you always had your own camera equipment. And this particular camera was my father's prime possession, Vinten Model H, 1937. He'd just come back from Ceylon, where he'd made a feature film. And he'd also built a blimp to soundproof the camera. So I grew up during the war years, and the school leaving age was 14. So I left school, and my mother wanted me to join an uncle in the city, have a steady job. But I chose to go with my father, and I worked with him as an apprentice, traveling all over the country, making training films for the Admiralty and the Fleet Air Arm, 2-reel travelogues, general interest films, pathy pictorial, and it was a wonderful experience. And the thing that I most emphasized, that I learnt from my father, was a discipline of looking after the equipment, because if the equipment didn't work, he didn't work. There were no rental houses. So he did his own maintenance. He had different cameras for different types of assignment. And he worked all his life as a cinematographer. So at the time I was 18, of course, it was time to do national service, and I spent 2 years in the RAF as a photographer. And on leaving, I thought, well, I need to branch out a bit and broaden my horizon. So I looked for a job. And I got a job with a newly formed film company called British Transport Films. As you might remember, in 1945 we got the Labour government, and they nationalised all the transport network, the trains, the docks, the inland waterways, the hotels. And this film unit was formed to make 3 different types of film. There were the instructional films, there were the travelogues to encourage people to travel by train, and there were the documentaries, which were the prestige work. So I was with this company for 4 or 5 years as an assistant cameraman, and one of the most memorable jobs that I did was in Southampton Docks, a film called Ocean Terminal. It's about the comings and goings of the great ocean liners. I remember we were on a tug called the Calshot, and we were filming the Queen Elizabeth leaving Southampton water. And we'd asked the captain if he wouldn't mind slowing down so we could get our shots. And we carried on and rather indulged ourselves, and eventually a message came over the radio, if you've finished your filming, may we please proceed to America? And another wonderful experience was travelling on the footplate of the Elizabethan Express at 100 miles an hour, when it's like being on a wild animal, because the footplate is moving all the time. There's tremendous noise. It's very cold air coming in from the outside, and when the fireman opened the firebox, there's a blast of hot air. And the fireman never stops working. He shovels 8 tons of coal on the journey. And then when he takes on water, you get absolutely soaked. And it was a most memorable experience. And so I reached a point where, having been at British Transport Films for about 5 years, I wanted to move up to become a cameraman. And I got a break. And the first film I did was sponsored by the Iraq Petroleum Company, which meant going to Iraq and Syria to photograph a film called Rivers of Time, about the cultural history of Mesopotamia. So I spent every penny I had and brought an Arri 2C camera with a set of Cooke prime lenses. And I followed in my father's footsteps. And I had a wonderful time there, most marvellous experience. And of course, very sadly, so many of those wonderful historical places have been destroyed and lost forever. But I continued doing various types of promotional film, and there was one for British Overseas Airways Corporation to encourage Americans to visit Europe. It was called European Tapestry, and it involved going to Holland to advertise the advantages of visiting. And there were 4 of us on the crew, and we arrived in Amsterdam with a single sheet of paper. And we went to the information office, and the lady there said, well, she said, you must go to the Rijksmuseum and the canals, and you must go to Delft. And there's a special exhibition at Arnhem, where the parachute drop was during the war. There's a special exhibition of Van Gogh. So we took ourselves up to Arnhem, and we went into this museum called the Kröller-Müller, and we presented our single sheet of paper, to whom it may concern, to the lady curator. And she said, yes, well, you know, go around the gallery and film what you like. And I had a little pushchair, and my assistant, Harvey Harrison, pushed me around, and I did travelling shots. And we shot all these magnificent paintings of Van Gogh. And again, we indulged ourselves rather. And we thought, well, we've probably got enough material now, we ought to leave, say thank you and leave. And we couldn't find anybody. And we meant to let ourselves out, and we were locked in. And it was long before mobile phones, and there was no security. There was no camera surveillance or anything like that. Pictures just hanging on the wall. And we didn't know who to call, so we went back into the curator's office, found the key to the front door, let ourselves out, and put the key back under the door. And we got away with it. Never heard another word. 20 years later, I told this story to a lady from Amsterdam, and she said, oh, I remember that. She said, it was a great scandal. It was all in the papers the next day. Well, as I say, I grew up in documentaries and shorts and instructional films. I always wanted to get into features. But at that time, features were like the Premier League. You had to start in the studio and work your way up. And so I sort of kept trying, and eventually the stepping stone for me turned out to be commercials, because they were great, like a melting pot of talent. People came from theatre, television, feature films, to direct and design and photograph commercials. And so there was a great pool of talent. And commercials changed the way feature films were made, because you didn't have an hour and a half, 2 hours, you had 30 seconds to tell the story. And so we had to adapt to a shorthand, if you like, which very often involved a sort of sensational shots that would just last for a few frames. It's become commonplace now, but in those days when we were in the late 50s, we were starting out first of all in black and white. It was a whole new technique, and you had to be quick and tell the story and sell the product, of course. Well, during the course of this period of shooting commercials, I worked with several directors, Ken Russell, Ted Kotcheff, John Schlesinger, just shooting commercials, and within a few years, I was doing feature films for them. Now, my first feature film was a little black and white film called Sound Fairy Anne. It was without sound. It was a comedy with a lot of the carry-on actors. And one thing leads to another. And then I did a film with Tony Richardson called Red and Blue, which was about a nightclub singer played by Vanessa Redgrave. And I remember on one occasion we were on Victoria Station, and the scene called for Vanessa to arrive and walk down the platform and get into the train. And Tony said, well, he said, I think we should look this way, and Vanessa can come along, get into the carriage. And I said, well, Tony, I think it'd be much better if we looked that way. And foolishly, I didn't yield the point. So Tony said, all right, darling, he said, what we'll do, he said, is we'll start this way, which is the way I want to look, and Vanessa can come towards us, and she can pass the camera, and we can look this way, which is where you want to look at. And then she can get into the carriage and we track in. Well, of course, I shot myself in the foot. I got to like the station both ways. And I learned a lesson from that, you know, as a cinematographer, you often want to persuade the director to do things a little differently, perhaps, from their vision, because it might be quicker or easier, or because you've got another idea. But you've got to be very careful how you do it, that you don't overplay your hand. Well, shortly after that, my big break came with $1 Billion Brain, directed by Ken Russell. The cinematographer who was going to shoot it had shot the two previous Len Dayton stories. Otto Heller, his name was, and he was going to go to Finland to shoot $1 Billion Brain. And when they came back from the recce, the production manager said, well, I think that Otto ought to have medical because it's going to be very cold out there. He refused the medical. And so Harry Saltzman said to Ken, well, who do you want? And Ken asked for me. And all I'd shot with Ken was a few commercials. So I turned up to Harry Saltzman's private screening room in Mayfair, and I borrowed the cutting copy of Red and Blue, this Tony Richardson film. I showed them this. And Harry turned to Ken, he said, oh, let's give the kid a break. And I was 38 years old. So I finished $1 Billion Brain with Ken, and the next year we shot Women in Love. And Women in Love was the best visual script I've ever had, because it had so many different moods, different atmospheres, different times of day, and it was full of opportunities. And Ken Russell was the most visual director, and, well, we had a lot of fun. So I'd like to show you a couple of clips from Women in Love. And we cue the first clip, please.
office.
I'm sorry you urged me. Can't you keep him on a little longer?
I've already replaced him, Father. Don't you think that his pension will be sufficient?
It is not the pension, it's the work. I still have a few more years' work left in me.
Not the sort of work I want.
They hate you. I'm glad I won't have to see it much longer.
Their hate is better than your love. You made a fortune exploiting them, and now you're trying to ease your guilt by slipping them a few coins. At least I give them a fair salary, if they can do the work.
There'll be few of them left to pay soon. You and your new machine.
Yes, me and my new machines.
They say you've stopped the widow's coal. We always allowed all the widows of men who work for the firm a load of coal every 3 months.
Well, they'll have to pay cost price from now on. The firm's not the charitable institution you seem to think it is, Father. Will you take us home, please? On your right, Thomas. Thank you, sir. Good.
What price that, eh? She'll do, won't she?
Why, I'd give a week's wages for 5 minutes with her. Just 5 minutes.
Your missus has have something to say to you.
Hey, you're first class, you are.
You think she'd be worth a week's wages, eh?
Do I? I bloody well put them down this second.
Yeah.
Hello. What about this matter you were talking about, eh? Well,
You won't get much for it, darling, dearie.
Come on, love, give us a drink. Bloody men.
You wanting company? Sure you do. You'll be wanting a little company.
Who are you then?
A man.
What work?
Mine are good enough for you. Why do you ask all these questions?
How are your thighs?
What thighs?
How are they? They're strong? Because I want to drown in flesh. Hot, physical, naked flesh.
Well, Ken Russell was the perfect choice to develop and direct this novel by D.H. Lawrence, because Ken was very sympathetic to the mining community, and we shot those scenes at Bridlington Colliery, where Ken made a documentary some years ago for Monitor called The Coal Miners' Picnic. And originally we wanted to shoot at the coalface with Oliver Reed. And we went down the pit and we climbed along the shaft to the pit face, the coalface. But it was totally impractical, of course, to shoot a scene down there. So we found this amazing conveyor belt, which sort of very Dickensian when you think about it. This was 1968, that sort of thing was still around. And also the deprived areas of the northeast, of the mining community, I think is very well captured here. And in the film, there's this enormous contrast between the lives of the mining community and the aristocracy. And if you get a chance to see the film, which is playing at the London Film Festival on Saturday, I've recently been involved in digitizing the film, and we've gone back to the original negative and scanned it to 4K resolution. And the print looks really good. This what you've been looking at is from the DVD. So let's look at another clip, shall we?
By God, I'd just reached the conclusion that nothing mattered in the world except somebody to take the edge off one's being alone. The right somebody.
Meaning the right woman, I suppose.
There's a course. Failing that, an amusing man.
Well, if you're bored, why not try hitting something?
Possibly. Providing it was something worth hitting. You ever done any boxing?
No. Oh, you mean you may as well hit me?
You? You? Well, yes, perhaps in a friendly sort of way, of course.
Not quite. I never learned the gentlemanly art.
You know, I've got the feeling that if I don't watch myself, I shall do something silly.
Why not do it? I used to do some Japanese-style wrestling once. I was never very good at it. Those things don't really interest me.
Don't they? Oh, they do me. How do you start?
Well, you can't do much in a stuffed shirt.
All right, let's strip and do it properly.
Very good. Now, you come at me any way you want, and I'll try and get out of it.
Admirable. That's good.
Because we love each other.
Shall Gudrun and I rush into marriage along with you?
If I were you, I wouldn't marry. But ask Gudrun, not me. I mean, you're not marrying me, are you?
I thought you were dead nuts on marriage.
There are all kinds of marriages, and there are all kinds of noses, snub and otherwise.
And you think that if I marry, it'll be son. What's the alternative?
If you don't know, don't do it. Marriage in the old sense seems to me to be repulsive. The whole world in couples, each couple in its own little house, watching its own little interests, stewing in its own little crevices. It's the most repulsive thing on earth.
Yes, I quite agree. There's something inferior about it. Well, there again, what's the alternative?
We've got to find one. I do believe in a permanent union between a man and a woman. Chopping about is merely an exhaustive process. But a permanent relationship between a man and a woman isn't the last word. It certainly isn't. We've got to take down this love and marriage ideal from its pedestal. We want something broader. I believe in the additional perfect relationship between man and man. Additional to marriage.
Well, I don't see how they can be the same.
No, not the same, but equally important, equally creative, equally sacred, if you like.
I know you believe something like that. Only I can't feel it, do you see?
Well, the wrestling scene, it's the first time anything like this has ever been done in mainstream cinema. And the actors, I think, were particularly anxious. And we got on the set and they stripped off, and Ollie looked at Alan and he said, "He's got a bigger donger." Went off into the corner of the set to see if he could improve matters a bit, but I think it was, it was just to break the ice. Because when they got into the wrestling, it was really, really serious stuff. That was a real blazing log fire. And we shot the wrestling scene with two handheld cameras, two ARRI 2Cs. And the fire, of course, makes a lot of crackling sound, but it's so different from when you usually see a fire in a feature film. It's usually a gas fire. It doesn't look real at all. This was the real thing. It was blazing hot. And I talked to Ken before we started the picture. I said, I'd really like to explore the colour of light a lot on this film, because the tendency in those days was to neutralise the skin tones. And we had this scene, we had a lot of candlelight, we had dusk scenes and day for night. And I said, let's use different coloured filters and so on to emphasise the colour of the light. So I put a full orange filter on the lamps, and I got the electricians waving branches to give the moving shadow effect. And of course it gives movement to the scene, and it involves the audience. And then the scene in the woodland area, it was Ken's idea to put the camera on its side. And we were on location in this woodland area, and we shot on a long lens at 3 times the speed. And I just created this effect with all the branches and flowers and so on, and put a backlight in. And it feels very kind of uplifting, that whole scene, doesn't it? And then finally, the mirror room. We didn't have any location to shoot this scene. We were in the same building where we shot the wrestling. And the location manager was showing us around, trying to find somewhere to shoot. And we came upon this room of mirrors by chance. It was pure luck. And having seen the scene, you can see how much it adds to the content of the scene. And it's one of those wonderful things about working on location, that you get surprises, things you hadn't expected, and you adapt to them and make it work, because no production designer, I think, would have ever thought of that. There were mirrors on 3 walls and one of them had a crack across, and of course Ken used it to advantage. So, that was a really rewarding scene to shoot, because we're storytellers. We're telling the story with moving pictures, and we're doing it by putting the camera in the right place, and working with the director and other members of the team to tell the story and get the best out of what's available to you. And whenever I'm setting up, I'm also thinking about where I'm going to put the light. Especially when you're on location, you might be restricted to where you put the light. So when you're getting the setup, you're also thinking about how you're going to light it. So that sometimes you need to persuade a director to change the angle a little bit so that you can make the lighting more effective, or you can save time. And you know, that's what it's about, telling the story. Well, shortly after this, I did a couple of films with Elizabeth Taylor, and she was absolutely lovely. She'd get to the set very early in the morning, go into makeup, and she would come on when she was ready. So we all had to be ready for her on the set, with the tracks laid and scene lit and so on. And we had a director called Brian Hutton who had been an actor, and he had an endless supply of jokes. So whilst we waited for Elizabeth, he would tell us jokes. And one morning when she was rather late, and eventually she came onto the set, and there was Elizabeth, followed by her makeup artist, followed by her hairdresser, followed by her costumier, followed by her photographer, and finally her bodyguard. Brian turned towards her and he said, "Ta-da! Big movie, big star, big pain in the ass." And she loved it. She fell about laughing. And the great thing about Elizabeth was she'd come on the set to do one rehearsal and the take would be absolutely perfect. Whatever you'd asked her to do, the lines, the performance was a knockout. Absolutely stunning. She made it look so easy. Well, I was to discover a little later that being in front of the camera is not as easy as it looks, because I'd like to show you a scene which is my debut. We were preparing to shoot The Wind and the Lion in Spain, and I went into the production office, and the director, John Milius, whose films are always about swords and gunfights and so on, and he said, "You can play Sir Joseph." And Sir Joseph is the British Vice Consul in Tangier in 1904. So let's have a look at the scene. It's an action picture. Well, when we got to shoot this scene, I'm all dressed up in this white suit, you see. And I said to the director, "Oh, John," I said, "do you think we could rehearse the lines? Because I had a few more lines than this." He says, No. He said, don't let's worry about lines. He said, "Let's go and do some shooting." So we go off the set, and I'm given very detailed instruction about how to draw the gun, how to take aim, how to fire. And I fired off a few blanks. He said, No. He said, "With real bullets, you get a bigger recoil." I said, "Oh, I'll take a bigger recoil." And so I get all this instruction, you see, about firing the gun. Well, as you could see, the scene starts with me talking to Candy Bergen, and my cue is to get up, draw the gun, shout "Brigands," and my gaffer was holding up an idiot board, and move to the mark when the first horseman was halfway across the duck pond. So we couldn't rehearse this, of course, so we got 5 cameras rolling, and off we go. Talking to Candy, horseman comes through the trellis. I get up, draw the gun, shout "Brigands," move to the mark, take aim, and the horseman did the most wonderful stunt, as you've seen. But I hadn't fired the gun. Because we covered it, but I felt such an idiot. And I realised afterwards, when you're working with actors, you take it for granted that they're going to get all these things right. But it's not as easy as it looks. And a little later than that, I did a couple of pictures with Katharine Hepburn on Golden Pond. And the first scene is when the old couple arrive at the lake where they're going to spend a vacation. And she'd never met Henry Fonda before. And we had a rehearsal day, and she came onto the set with a brown trilby hat. And she went up to Henry Fonda and she said, "Hank," she said, "I'd like you to have this for good luck." And it was Spencer Tracy's hat. Of course, they'd made many pictures together. When the picture was over, Henry Fonda painted a beautiful watercolour of 3 hats, the Spencer Tracy hat, the fishing hat that he wears, and another fishing hat that the young boy wears who joins them for the holiday. And we each got a copy of this. So that was a rehearsal day. We came to the first day of shooting. We were all ready and we were waiting for Miss Hepburn. When she came on the set, she was absolutely stunning. She had a black silk polo neck, black silk trousers, a beautifully tailored leather jacket, and a Robin Hood style hat. She looked like Coco Chanel. And the director said, "Okay, this isn't your costume, surely." I said, yes, she said, this is what I want to wear. That's fine, I'm ready, let's go, let's shoot. Well, there then developed in front of the whole crew the biggest argument I've ever seen on a film set. The language from Miss Hepburn would have made a sergeant major blush. And it was directed straight at the director. Not the costume designer, the director. And in the end, she said, "All right," she said, "come and show you what we want to wear." There beside the lake was a cabin with all her wardrobe for the movie. So we chose something, and we did the day's work. At the end of the day, I'm going home with Mark Rydell, the director, and he said, "George Cukor, who directed all those pictures with Tracy and Hepburn, George Cukor warned me she'd test you on the first day. How about that for a test?" Well, after that, she wouldn't talk to the director about wardrobe. She came to me. And it was all a game. And she came up one day with a bright red cardigan. And I didn't take too keenly to this. And she said, "Oh, Billy, why don't you like this? It's a beautiful colour." I said, "Yeah, it's very bright, Kate." And she said, "Haven't you ever seen any of those French Impressionist paintings?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "There's always a little bit of red in them." And I said, "Yes, and your eye goes straight to it." "It's exactly what I want," she said. Well, around this time, just before I did On Golden Pond, I was invited to go to Beaconsfield to do a workshop, a lighting workshop with the cinematography students. And I'd not done anything like this before. And so I turned up, and I had quite a big group of students, and so I set up a series of exercises on the campus with one unit, and then I had the other unit photographing what they were doing. Well, this started a whole new chapter in my career, because since then I've been to various workshops and film festivals and seminars and so on, talking about cinematography and what we do. And I've got a great deal of satisfaction from meeting young people, telling them a few jokes, trying to point them in the right direction. You can't teach someone to be a cinematographer, but you can open a few windows and give some encouragement and point them in the right direction. Because in the end, if you're going to be a cinematographer, it's not just how good your technical knowledge is and how well you know the equipment, and that's important, but it's how you interpret that, how you use your knowledge and experience and put that up on the screen. And I say to students, well, in addition to all the things that you're studying, study life, study human behavior, how people respond to one another, whether you're working in a documentary or a feature film. Just study human behavior, and above all, study light and the behavior of light, and how light changes during the course of a day, and how different types of light can change the whole atmosphere of a scene and create entirely different moods according to how you use the light and where the direction of the light's coming from. So I still enjoy doing that, and I very much enjoyed being with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. That was simply amazing. Hearing all your reminiscences of stories with great stars and everything. Wow, what experience you've had. Thank you so much for that wonderful talk, Billy. How do you follow that? I think we should have a look at the shortlisted films. They're all dramas, and this year they're from 5 different universities. So I'd like to congratulate the University of Portsmouth, the University for the Creative Arts, the Northern Film School, the University of York, and Bournemouth University. More than 40 films have been reduced to the 6 on the shortlist, but I'd like to say how impressed I've been with those that didn't quite make it. Some of them are available to view via the GTC website, but now let's have a look at the shortlisted work.
die here, right now, while it still means something to me. I'm not kidding.
I'm driving.
Still the same old Puritan.
Christ! Are you okay?
What?
Whoa,
Get
whoa,
up!
whoa, whoa,
Get
whoa.
up!
Richard, it's me. It's Bill. It's Bill.
It's all right. I thought you'd gone. Left me.
Idiot. Come on. Oh, up you get.
Finally, the guest of honor. What takes your fancy?
Whiskey cup.
The standard of each of those films is remarkable, and every one of you should be proud of your achievement. Unfortunately, we have to have a winner. The judges were particularly impressed that some of the films had been funded by crowdsourcing, enabling them to hire specific equipment and in some cases use professional actors. The judges had this to say about the first of our runners-up. The excellent camera work was ambitious and a lot of different skills were evident. Style above all was key to this piece, very complementary to the subject, which added to the story. The first award for runner-up goes to, we should have the drum roll here like Strictly Come Dancing, Lawrence Fish at the University of Portsmouth for Automated Teleman. Presenting the award is one of the judges, Anna Carrington. Presentation first, yeah. Well done, Lawrence. We'll just have a few photographs taken. Here's a reminder of Lawrence's work. For the second of our runners-up, the judges said the camera work was intelligent with beautiful framing throughout. There was good, smooth camera movement and a great choice of angles. Congratulations go to James Mathews at the Northern Film School for his work on Mako. Sorry. We've got a problem here, sorry. Presenting the award is Jean Hibbard. Sorry. Where would you like everyone, Dave? Is that all right there? Yeah. Thank you, Jean. Thank you. So sorry about the confusion there on the script, Jean. I do apologise. Let's have another look at James's camera.
What the fuck are you doing here?
The camera work on the winning film has been described as being first class and exceptionally well executed. The judges said it was a wonderful film with a lovely pace and atmosphere. They said the camera work was well timed, very effective throughout, and showed a great consistency that captured some very poignant moments with sensitivity. The Bill Vinten GTC University Award goes to Angus Mitchell from Bournemouth University for his work on Brackish water. To present the award is Billy Williams. Well done, Angus. Thank you, Billy. Well done to Angus. And now to the main award of the evening that goes to the university with the highest scoring portfolio. It's a testament to the lecturers who bring out their student skills and provide the foundations of knowledge and good practice for their students to realise their ambitions. In third place, and they were third last year, is Staffordshire University. In second place is the Northern Film School at the Leeds Beckett University. But the winners of the Bill Vinten GTC University Trophy is Bournemouth University. To present the award is Stuart McKeers. Stuart. Well done, everyone. All that remains before I invite you to join me for a drink, that sounds expensive, is to thank one or two people. A big thank you goes to Billy Williams, Vince Knight, take a bow. Thank you both for sharing your views with us. To Jean Hibbard, wife of our dear President Dick. Thank you, Jean. To Stuart McKeers, who founded the competition. Stuart, take a bow. To the judges, and to Alan Duxbury, who helped organise the evening. Big evening as well. Well done, Alan. Thank you to Jay Rosansky for filming and streaming the event. Thank you, Jay. He's been helped by his partner, Jenny Alcina, Steve Acton, and James French. Thank you, guys. Some of the students have also used this opportunity to pick up a few pointers, so thank you to them too. David Ballantyne has been taking photographs tonight. Thank you, David. David, as a former chairman, was one of the judges this year. If I could ask the award winners to come to the front when I finish speaking, as Dave wants to take a few more pictures of you all. A big thank you goes to Claire Barwell and her team here at UCA. Take a bow, Claire. You're obviously very popular here. And to the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Simon O'Field Kerr, who has allowed us to use the facilities here. Thank you, Professor. And finally, thank you to you for making the evening so special for all the students and taking part and coming tonight. Thank you all and have a safe journey home. Thank you.